Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Syawal Hazimi bin Saidi and my number metric is AA251490.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Faris Amr bin Muslim. My matrix number is AA251955.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Nur Qudratullah bin Matsiri. My matrix number is AA251571.
Hai, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan selamat sejahtera. Saya Nur Ain Bazilah binti Mazlan, nombor matrik AA250708.
Assalamualaikum. Today we will present about the explosion and fire at Iskandar Puteri factory. Our presentation will cover introduction of the incident, chronology of event, finding to hierarchy, corrective action, and the impact of the incident. Let us begin with the introduction.
Today I will talk about introduction of this case. The Iskandar Puteri Industrial Hub is a key economic zone that houses various factories, including chemical storage and manufacturing facilities. On 10 October 2024, an explosion and subsequent fire broke out at 4 factories within the Silk Industrial Park. Initial report indicated that the fire originated from a chemical warehouse storing flammable solvents.
Today, I want to present a chronology about explosion and fire at Iskandar Puteri factory. A chronology is, on the morning of 10 October 2024, the factory in the LILC industrial area, Iskandar Puteri, operated as it usually did. Workers, including 3 migrant workers from Bangladesh, were assigned tasks involving the movement and storage of paint thinner, a chemical solvent widely used in industrial processes. At approximately 11:30 am, a sudden and violent explosion tore through the warehouse. Flammable vapors from the thinner, having accumulated to explosive levels, ignited when exposed to an ignition source, likely faulty electrical wiring, static electricity, or a spark from equipment. The explosion shook the facility, followed almost instantly by a massive fireball that spread rapidly across the storage areas. Workers screamed and fled, but 3 Bangladesh workers closest to the explosion were directly caught in the blaze. They sustained several burn injuries, covering up to 30% of their bodies. Emergency responders were alerted within minutes, but the fire reached uncontrollably, spreading to nearby warehouses that store additional flammable materials. The lack of compartmentalization and suppression systems allow flames to leap quickly from one structure to another, ultimately consuming 3 warehouses almost entirely. Beside of that, Muhammad Faiz Sulaiman, the operations commander at the Iskandar Puteri Fire and Rescue Station, started the first distress call came in at 11:33 am. Within 8 minutes, firefighters from 6 stations rushed to the scene. A total of 46 firefighters participated in the effort, bringing multiple fire engines and rescue equipment to tackle the flames. Upon arrival, firefighters faced the chaotic scene with 4 factories fully engulfed in flames. The situation was worsened by flammable materials present at the site, including hazardous chemicals. Reports estimate that 80 to 90% of the affected facilities suffered severe damage.
Thank you, my groupmate. Now, I will continue with the chronology of the explosion at Iskandar Puteri factory. Amid the chaos, 3 workers managed to escape but suffered serious injuries, covering about 30% of their bodies. Their colleagues quickly evacuated them and rushed them to Sultanah Aminah Hospital for urgent medical care, and no other injuries were reported in the surrounding areas. So, I will continue. Investigators later found that one of the affected factories was used for storing chemicals, including paint, thinner, and other highly flammable materials. The explosive vapor likely contributed to the rapid spread of the fire, with multiple explosions reported. Authorities are currently investigating the exact cause of the fire and any potential chemical pollution resulting from the incident. And as the final firefighter continued their efforts, authorities issued health warning to nearby residents, advising them to avoid the smokes which could contain harmful substances. So, that is the chronology of the explosion at Iskandar Puteri factory. This incident highlights how dangerous chemical storage can be if not properly controlled.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Syawal Azimi and I will talk about finding in this case. First of all, warehouse store highly flammable chemicals. Then, possible chemical leakage triggered the explosion. After that, fire prevention system and building safety measures were inadequate. Then, lack of comprehensive emergency response, training among workers, and lastly, no recent record of maintenance on fire prevention system. Assalamualaikum and good day. In this presentation, I will explain about hazard hierarchy in this case. First is chemical leakage. The first hazard is chemical leakage, which may result in explosion and fire outbreak. The likelihood is rated at 3. The severity is 4, giving total risk score of 12, which is classified as high risk. The control measures include conducting regular inspection, installing gas detectors, and implementing safe handling standard operating procedures. Next, the second hazard is improper chemical storage, which can cause rapid fire spread. Here, the likelihood is 3 and the severity is 3, resulting in total risk score of 9, which is a medium risk level. Control measures are the provision of dedicated chemical storage area and maintaining safe separation distance between chemicals. Next, the third hazard is the lack of emergency training, which significantly increase the risk of explosion and fire outbreak. The likelihood is 4, the severity is 4, giving the highest risk score of 16, categorized as high risk. Control measures include regular evacuation drills and comprehensive emergency training for all employees. Next, the final hazard is a weak fire detection system, also linked to explosion and fire outbreak. It has a likelihood of 3 and severity of 3, producing a total risk score of 9, which is a medium risk level. Control measures include installing a modern sprinkler system and smoke and gas alarm to ensure early detection. Thank you.
Alright, now I want to talk about corrective action for this case. This accident, the explosion and fire at Iskandar Puteri factory in 2024, require immediate corrective action to protect workers and control the situation. First, the priority was to evacuate all workers from the affected factory area. This step ensured that employees were moved to safety and not further exposed to the fire or hazardous chemicals. Second, it was necessary to provide first aid and hospital treatment to the injured workers without delay. Rapid medical response was crucial in minimizing the impact of burns and smoke inhalation. Third, emergency teams worked to contain the fire and isolate chemical storage areas. This was a critical measure to prevent additional explosion and stop the fire from spreading. Fourth, the incident had to be reported to the Department of Occupational Safety and Health (DOSH) within 24 hours using the official JKKP 6 notification form. This fulfilled the legal requirement and enabled proper investigation. Finally, the site had to be secure and restricted so that only authorized personnel could access the area until the investigation and cleanup were completed. In conclusion, this corrective action focused on saving life, controlling hazard, meeting legal obligations, and ensuring that the factory environment was made safe for future operation. Now, I will explain the explosions and fire at Iskandar Puteri factory in 2024. First, for the employer, the main impacts are financial loss due to damaged property, halted operations, and costly repairs. On top of that, There are also legal consequences such as possible fines, lawsuits, or prosecutions under OSHA 1994 and the Factories and Machinery Act 1967. For the employees, many suffer physical injuries, including burns, smoke inhalations, and potential long-term health effects from chemical exposure. Apart from that, there was also psychological stress, such as trauma, fear of returning to work, and low morale after the incident. For the public, the accident created health risks because nearby residents were exposed to toxic fumes, which can cause respiratory issues. In addition, there were community disruptions such as evacuations, road closure, and disturbance to daily life. And finally, for the environment, the fire released toxic gases into the air, causing air pollution. At the same time, soil contaminations occur due to chemical leakage, which can damage land and threaten local biodiversity. So, in summary, the impact of this accident were not only limited to the workers and employer, but also affected the surrounding community and the environment.
In conclusion, the explosion and the fire at the Iskandar Puteri factory is not just an isolated accident, but a lesson for all industries. This case shows how negligence in handling hazardous materials, lack of proper storage, and insufficient safety training can lead to serious consequences for workers, companies, and even the community. Through HIREC analysis, we can clearly see the importance of identifying hazards, assessing the level of risk, and implementing effective control measures. Corrective actions such as improving safety system, providing proper training, and enforcing standard operating procedure are crucial to prevent similar incidents in the future. We would like to emphasize that safety is not only the responsibility of the employer, but also every worker in the organization. A strong safety culture can protect life, reduce risk, and ensure sustainable operation. That is all from Good Night. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.